Liverpool fans, welcome back to the channel. The Reds are working hard ahead of the Newcastle clash, with Jacquet, Curtis Jones, Ronald Araujo and Alexis Mac Allister bringing positive news to the squad. Today we break down the latest training updates, the returning players and what they could mean for Liverpool's big Premier League opener. There is positive news from Liverpool's training ground as the Reds continue their final preparations for the new Premier League season and their opening match against Newcastle United. One of the biggest stories has been the return of several important players to team training. Jeremy Jacquet is one of the major boosts. The young French defender returned to full team training after being out with injury. His comeback was especially important because Liverpool needed another option in central defence ahead of the new season. He went on to make his pre-season appearance against Como and scored in Liverpool's 2-0 victory. Then there is Curtis Jones. Jones had missed Liverpool's previous pre-season match against Monaco because of a hip problem, but he returned to training alongside the squad. His return gives the midfield another important option as Liverpool prepare for the Premier League campaign. Another major name involved in the training work was Ronald Araujo. The Barcelona defender arrived on loan and quickly joined his new teammates in training. His presence is particularly important because Liverpool are rebuilding their defensive unit. Araujo later featured against Como, giving supporters their first opportunity to see him playing alongside the new Liverpool defensive structure. Alexis Mac Allister was another player who returned to Liverpool's preparations. After his international commitments, the Argentine midfielder began his pre-season work with the squad. Andoni Iraola previously confirmed that Mac Allister's return helped give Liverpool a much fuller squad. So Liverpool's training story is not simply about fitness. It is about getting important players back, building chemistry and making sure the squad is ready for competitive football, and that is particularly important in defence. Liverpool have introduced new defensive options with Araujo and Jacquet joining captain Virgil van Dijk. Van Dijk has already admitted that the new defensive unit will need time to develop a strong understanding, and regular training and competitive matches will be crucial for that process. The good news for Liverpool supporters is that these returning players are now getting valuable minutes and training time before the Premier League begins. Liverpool's final pre-season match against Como ended with a 2-0 victory, with Cody Gakpo and Jeremy Jacquet scoring the goals. Araujo also featured while the squad continued building towards the opening league fixture. Now the focus is Newcastle. Liverpool will begin their Premier League campaign away at Newcastle United on August 23rd. Milos Kerkez has already made it clear that the squad is looking forward to the start of the season and believes the team is ready to compete. For Liverpool fans, the biggest positive is clear. Jacquet is back. Curtis Jones is back. Araujo has joined the group. Mac Allister is back in the squad. The Reds are getting closer to having their important players available, and every training session between now and Newcastle will be about sharpening the team and building the understanding needed for the new campaign. Liverpool's new season is almost here. The training ground is busy, the squad is coming together, and now the real test is waiting at St James's Park. Newcastle United versus Liverpool. Our Liverpool training update. We need to look more closely at the players who have returned to the group and what their availability could mean for Liverpool as the new Premier League season gets closer. The most important point is that Liverpool are no longer simply preparing for another friendly. The pre-season programme is finished. The next match is competitive, and that match is against Newcastle United. Liverpool will open their Premier League campaign at St James's Park on August 23rd, meaning every training session before that game has become extremely important. Jeremy Jacquet, a major boost. One of the most encouraging developments has been the return of Jeremy Jacquet. Jacquet had been unable to properly participate in most of Liverpool's pre-season because of injury problems, so seeing him return to full team training was a major boost for the coaching staff. His return was not just about getting another player back. It was particularly important because Liverpool have undergone major changes in defence. Jacquet then showed exactly why his return was exciting when he finally made his Liverpool appearance against Como, and he did not simply make up the numbers. He scored. The young defender started alongside Virgil van Dijk and immediately attracted attention with his confidence and contribution. Liverpool eventually won the Anfield friendly 2-0, with Jacquet scoring the second goal after Cody Gakpo had opened the scoring. That performance means Jacquet now has momentum going into the final days before Newcastle. Curtis Jones is another important return. Liverpool also received encouragement from the return of Curtis Jones. Jones had missed the previous pre-season game against Monaco because of a slight hip problem, but he returned to training before the Como double-header. That return was significant because Liverpool need depth and competition in midfield. Jones is already familiar with the club, the dressing room and the demands of Premier League football, so unlike a new signing, he does not need time to learn the environment. His main objective is simply to regain full fitness and rhythm, and that is why his return to training was such a positive development. Liverpool will need midfielders who can handle the physical demands of Newcastle, especially in a difficult away environment. Ronald Araujo, new defensive option. Then there is Ronald Araujo. The Uruguayan defender is one of the most interesting additions to Liverpool's new look defence. Araujo joined from Barcelona on a season-long loan and quickly became part of Liverpool's training group. Liverpool themselves published footage showing Araujo training alongside Mac Allister, Jacquet and Curtis Jones in an intense session. His arrival gives Liverpool another powerful defensive option. But there is an important detail here. Liverpool are not expecting everything to become perfect immediately. Virgil van Dijk has explained that the new defensive unit will need time to develop chemistry. Liverpool have had changes at the back, including the departures of Ibrahima Konate and Andy Robertson. While Joe Gomez has also had an injury setback, that means training is extremely important. The defenders need to understand each other's movement. They need to communicate. They need to know when to step forward and when to stay back. And they need to understand exactly how Iraola wants them to defend. Van Dijk believes competitive matches will ultimately help develop that understanding, but the work starts every day on the training pitch. Mac Allister's return. Alexis McAllister is another major piece of this story. After his international commitments, the Argentine midfielder returned to Liverpool's pre-season preparations. Andoni Iraola had previously confirmed that McAllister's return was important because it gave Liverpool a much fuller squad. That matters enormously. A manager can have tactical ideas, but those ideas are much easier to implement when the important players are available. McAllister gives Liverpool composure in midfield. He can help control possession. He can move the ball quickly, and he can provide the kind of experience that becomes especially valuable in difficult Premier League matches. The Como match gave Liverpool more answers. Okay, so the final pre-season match against Como was also useful because several of these returning or new players were able to get minutes. Liverpool won 2-0, Jacquet scored, Araujo featured, and the team kept a clean sheet. That was exactly the kind of result Liverpool wanted before the Premier League opener. It was not perfect, but it gave the squad confidence. Milos Kerkez has also spoken positively about the team's preparations while acknowledging that Liverpool still have areas to improve, particularly in defensive support from the wide players. That is an important point. Liverpool cannot rely only on the centre-backs. The entire team has to defend together. The wingers have to help, the midfield has to protect the defence, and the full-backs have to understand when they can attack and when they need to remain cautious. And this is where the training sessions become even more important. Newcastle are not going to give Liverpool an easy opening match. St James's Park can be extremely difficult for visiting teams, and Liverpool know that they must start the season with concentration from the first minute. The players returning from injury or international duty now have to reach the right physical level. The new signings have to understand their teammates, and Iraola has to decide which combination gives Liverpool the best chance of controlling the game. That is why the return of Jacquet, Jones, Araujo and Mac Allister is so important. It gives the manager more choice.